In Parashat Miketz, we found that Paro has dreams. It's not the first time we find dreams in the Torah. Previous parasha, we had dreams of Yosef, and we found in a few other places that either the Avot were dreaming or others were dreaming later on. We found also in the Nevi'im about Nebuchadnezzar that was dreaming, and we need to understand what those dreams really mean. Are they true? Do they have anything into it, truth into it? How do we relate that to our dreams? When we go to sleep and we dream all kind of things, do we have to worry? There's a lot of people that after they dream, they go to rabbis that interpret the dreams for them and solve it and tell them all kind of things, some things that are good and some things that are bad. Is that the right approach? Should one be worried? Should one take a ta'anit? Or should one just ignore them like nothing happened? Today we try to a little bit understand and solve this kind of question and see all the different details about it. In our parasha, Paro dreams. After he has the first and second dream, the Torah uses an interesting lashon, Vayipa'em rucho, which means Paro, soul was agitated. And that happened only after he woke up. Vayiba boker v'tipa'em rucho. Second thing that it says, by Nebuchadnezzar, as Rashi brings down, v'titpa'em rucho shnato ni'ita alav. Sefer Minchat Yehuda, from Rav Yehuda Fetaya, Aruchot Mesapot, says that it's interesting that he wasn't agitated while he was dreaming. Also Nebuchadnezzar wasn't. They got agitated after they woke up in the morning, which means the dream went calmly. And he wants to know why was that in such a way. In order to understand the sugya well, we need to go into the source, and that is the Gemara, the Torah Shebe'al Peh. The Gemara actually says that sometimes we get nevuot, sometimes we get a certain kind of a nevuah in a dream, sometimes we have Hashem talking to us in the dream, and sometimes it's nothing but a shed, a demon that's talking to us in the dream. Sometimes it's through a malach, and sometimes through a shed. Says the Gemara, in Brachot Nun He Amud Bet, Rava Rami. Rava asked the question. Ktiv v'chalom adaber bo. It says in one pasuk that a Kadosh Baruch Hu speaks to us in dreams. When a Kadosh Baruch Hu wants to speak to us, if it would be a Navi, a Kadosh Baruch Hu comes to him straight out, but sometimes it's b'chalom adaber bo. Sometimes a Kadosh Baruch Hu reveals to a person in a dream and he tells him a message. Uktiv, another place it says, Chalomot shav yedaberu. The dreams speak nothing. They speak nonsense. They speak nothing. V'chalomot hashav yedaberu. Says the Gemara, and this is the answer of Rava, Lo kasha, kan al yedei malach, v'kan al yedei shed. It depends what kind of dream. Some dreams come through an angel, malach. Some dreams come through a shed, a demon. And therefore, if it comes through a malach, it's a good dream. But b'chalom adaber bo, Kadosh Baruch Hu comes to talk to us in a dream, and he sends the message through a malach, to a messenger. Malach is a messenger. And sometimes it's not a Kadosh Baruch Hu at all. Who is it? A demon. We need to understand exactly where we're holding in order to be able to understand, do we get the messages when we sleep and we see dreams through a malach or through a shed? That's a very important question. So we need to know the following. The Zohar itself asks this question and explains that there's three levels of shedim that reveals to each and every person, which means it depends what a person's ability is. Some people, the Zohar explained, Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, some people have what is called nefesh, some have ruach, and some have neshama. And the least of the three is the nefesh, higher than that is the ruach, and higher than that is the neshama. And therefore, it depends what a person level is, what kind of neshama he has, what level he has from those three, and from then, with that ability that he has, he gets the message through some kind of messenger, either a malach or a shed. Now, the Zohar explains the following. If a person has neshama, it could be that he's getting the message from a malach, it could be that he's getting it also from a shed. But the demon, is a much higher demon, which means he sees what happens high up, מאחורי הפרגוד. He gets the message and he finds out what's going on in Shamayim very close to where the message comes out. Later on, you have those that receive it from them. Demons that are in a lower level that receives it from the ones that are higher level, and therefore if they deliver it already, it's much less accurate. It's like a broken telephone, that the second one says it, it's not so accurate anymore. And then you have the lower demons of all, that the Zohar explains that those are just coming to manipulate the person, laugh at him, play with him, scare him for nothing. Those are the lower. And who gets message from who? That depends on the level of a person. If a person has a neshama, the higher of the three, he could get the message either from a malach, as we explained, or from the higher shadim that know what goes on. If a person is lower than that, he has only a ruach, so he gets the message from the middle shadim. And if he has only a nefesh, so he gets revealed those messages from the lower shadim, the lower demons, that actually what they do is they come to laugh at him, they come to play games with him, they come to scare him. That's where they get their livelihood from. That's where they get their welfare from. That's what they enjoy. And therefore, we need to know where we're holding. So we need to know that Rav Chaim Vital, which was the main Talmid of the Arizal, said in the name of the Arizal that today, in his time he said that, 500 years ago, almost nobody has Ruach or Neshama. Almost everybody have only a Nefesh. Actually, he says, even in any time in history, it was very, very hard to find people that had those Ruach or Neshama. People normally have only a Nefesh. That's the lowest of the three. But even more so, he says, in our generation, when he spoke, almost nobody has that. So we can understand that today, 500 years later, the people are much less spiritual than back then. Obviously, to find somebody that has a higher neshama than just the nefesh, higher level, it's much, much harder than back then. So therefore, we can clearly assume that the dreams that we seeing are from those shadim that are the lowest of all, and they come in to play games with us, and we can assume from that those dreams are meaningless. And if we actually take a look at the Mefarshim that understood clearly how these things work, we can see how they approach those dreams and how we should relate those dreams to ourselves. So, we mentioned before the Minchat Yehuda, Rav Yehuda Fataya, in Ruchot Mesapot, and he says the following. He says that the difference between a real dream and a dream that came from a shed that comes to play with us is how do you actually receive the dream. If you receive it as a mixed dream with all kind of mixed messages and you get scared while seeing the dream, you need to know that that's not a real dream. That dream came from the shed. But if it's a dream that comes calmly, organized, with a straight message, very organized message, nothing confused inside, then you know that that's a real message from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's why when Paro was dreaming and Nebuchadnezzar was dreaming, since they were dreaming true dreams, it was a dream that came as a message from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Their message came very calmly. Only in the morning when they woke up, that's what it says, only in the morning when Paro woke up, his soul got agitated, he got excited over it. But beforehand, everything was calm. Same thing by Nebuchadnezzar. תתפעם רוחו ושנתו נהייתה עליו, כי נתעורר משנתו אחרי ראיית החלום ההוא, ונפעמה רוחו בקרבו. Only after he woke up, he got this feeling. But while he was getting the dream, everything came calmly, and he was able to get a clear message from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what is the future coming. And therefore, when we take a look at our dream, we need to know how the dream come about. So he says the following: Haklal bazehu. This is the rule. Ki chalom haba al yedei malach hu yeh mesudar. Any dream that comes to a malach, as we explained in Rava Rami, he said chalom haba al yedei malach. That's b'chalom adaber bo. And this chalom is al yedei shed, is chalomot hashav yedaberu. So therefore, if you want to know if it's an honest dream from a malach, it would be mesudar. It would come in order. לא יהיה מעורבב מעניינים שונים זה מזה. He wouldn't come mixed up with different messages. גם אינו מתפחד ומתבהל בעת ראיית החלום. While you're seeing the dream, you're not scared, you're not worried. ולא דל שרואה את עצמו כמו בהקיץ ממש. You see yourself like it's a completely awake, like you are completely awake, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is trying to give a message, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want any interruption. Person can see that dream very clearly. But if the dream comes through a shed, אבל חלום הבא על ידי שד, דרך אחרת יש לו. It's completely different. כי הוא עומד אצל אדם הישן בעודו ישן שינה קלה, while a person is just starting to dream, which means is that just in the beginning of the sleep, or towards the end of the sleep, when a person starts to wake up. ולוחש באוזנו דברים מבהילים, he starts carrying him, the shed. וגיבובי דברים מעניין לעניין, he takes him from one thing to another thing, all kind of messages that are mixed up. ואותם הדברים הם מצטיירים במוח האדם ונבעל מהם. A person gets very scared from that, ליבו דופק מאוד, his heart starts to beat, הוא מתעורר מרוב הפחד. He wakes up from the fear of those dreams. ואותם השדים נשארים עומדים שם, those demons stand over there, והם שמחים ומשחקים עליו. They start playing with him, and they start laughing at the fear that he had. על שיכלו להביא לו. כאשר חוזר לישון, when again he wants to go to sleep, חוזרים להביא לו. Since they saw they were successful in the first time, they do that again and again. וכן עושים כמה פעמים. Since that's what they enjoy, they were successful in the first time. It's like a little kid. He sees that he was able to tease his brother. His brother is crying. He's going to do that again and again. וכן עושים כמה פעמים, ואין אדם ניצול מהם, עד שיחזור ויקרא קריאת שמע, או שיעשה באופן אחר. So a person would be able to save himself from this only through reading קריאת שמע. Later on he says you have to have קריאת שמע ממש בכוונה. And he explains over here in length what actually happens when those shadim come. גם חדשות אני מגיד. Now it comes to reveal to us a new thing of Yehuda Fataya. Very interesting, very interesting. He says the following. According to what we just concluded, that a person has nothing to worry about, and the reason you don't have to worry about anything is because they only come, as he says, and actually that's what the Zohar says, those demons are just from, those are the lowest ones, since we only have a nefesh. Those are the only lowest of the shadim, and they just come to play with us and to scare us, because that's what they enjoy. And therefore you have nothing to worry about. But when a person gets scared, and he gets agitated, and he gets worried, so they come again and again, because they were successful. So he comes of Yehuda Fataya and says the following, beautiful חידוש. גם חדשות אני מגיד, כי השדים הם למדו את הדברים שבני אדם מקפידים מהם, אם רואים אותם בחלום. The shadim knew that there's some things that people are very worried about. So even though the Gemara says that when you see those things, you should be worried that such and such things might happen, but the shadim already know about it. They know about this Gemara. They saw again and again that people are worried when they do the following and show them the following. Like for instance, when a person sees the teeth falling, so the halacha says in Ilchot Shabbat that a person is allowed to have a ta'anit even on Shabbat. He's allowed to fast. And he needs to fast because the fast would solve the dream that came to him and came to give a bad message, and that would be taken care of if a person fasts. But now that the shadim already know about it, so that's what they show him, because they understand that that's what people are scared of, and therefore those very things that people are worried about, since the Gemara said you should be worried about, now it's not a message anymore that's true and honest, rather it comes from the shed. That's what he says over here. כשהשדים הם למדו את הדברים שבני אדם מקפידים מהם, אם רואים אותם בחלום. כגון, הרואה שנפלו שיניו, person that sees the teeth falling, או מחזיר כפרות עליו, a person sees that he does כפרות, או בהמה שחוטה לפניו, he shechts an animal, he sees that in a dream, the Gemara says it's a bad thing. או שהוא שרוי בתענית, או לובש שחורים, או הולך יחף, וכיוצא בזה. And therefore, since those things that really in halacha and in the Gemara it says one should worry about and have a ta'anit, אין לו לאדם לחוש לחלומות אלו. Today you don't have to worry about it, because that's the reason you're seeing it, because they're showing it to us, to scare us. אלא אם כן רואה שדירו בחלום, או שקראו בשמו לעלות בספר תורה, וגם לזה אינו חושש, תבוא עליו הברכה. Nothing you should worry about, nothing. Therefore, with that we can understand why the poskim were so strict to explain to us that today you don't have to worry about the dreams. You see, the Chazon Ish, he told people not to worry about any dream. Anybody that came and told him a dream, he told them, I also dream like that, and I never worry about it. I don't make a ta'anit, and nothing, everything's good. If a person is very worried, he does a tavat chalom. But a person doesn't need to actually take it to the next step of going to a rabbi and trying to reveal what does it mean. Today you have all kind of shows that would explain to you this dream means like that, and people go on that show and say their dream, and you have over there the rabbi that would tell you exactly what the dream meant and what the person needs to take upon himself and what he needs to change and so on and so forth. According to our mefarshim, our poskim, our Gemara, our Zohar, those things are almost always meaningless. It comes with Yehuda Fatah and says the following. Sometimes a person is scared. He is scared. It's the nature of a person. So the Shedim come, they show him a scary, very scary thing. He wakes up in the morning, he's all scared. What should he do now? And he starts calling those rabbis and he starts finding out what he should do. So therefore, says of Yehuda Fatah, you need to be worried. Why? If they see you scared from it, so they see that they're successful, so they now are going to make sure to do that bad things to that person. In order to make sure that the person that was dreaming actually would believe it. He would believe that the dreams were true. How? Because he just went through it. He just dreamt and it came about. So therefore, the dream must be true. Says of Yehuda Fatah, no, the dream is not true. They showed you the message, and they saw you scared, and they saw you ran in the morning to find a solution for your dream, and therefore they brought it about. So afterwards you're going to believe the next dreams that they're going to show you. או לפחות כששומעים כל הכרוז שברקיע שמכריז על הזרעה שלא תבוא, הם מודיעים עליו בחלום שיאמין בחלומותיו. אמנם צריך אותו אדם לדעת, a person needs to know שאם הוא מתענה על חלומות כאלו, if a person fasts because he sees that חלום, או עושה כפרות או פדיון נפש, he goes, he makes כפרות for himself, פדיון נפש, wonderful things. He says, unless you ask a knowledgeable rabbi, not the rabbis that reveal dreams, a real rabbi, a real גדול הדור, אינו שואל את פי חכם על ידי ההפרש בין חלום שעל ידי מלאך ובין חלום שעל ידי שד, ידו ידע. You should know that if you go through those rabbis that reveal those dreams, but they're not the real rabbis, גדולי הדור, ידו ידע שהוא מעוטד מכאן והלאה לחלומות קשים ורעים ומרים מאלו, he says. You're going to get worse and worse dreams. Why? Because it's like the parable, like the mashal we said before. A kid that's teasing his brother, he sees that he's successful, he's going to do it again and again. כי השדים הם שמחים על שלא היה גם לריק עם אדם זה. The shedim are very happy now, they're rejoicing. We just teased this person, we showed him different things, and he went around all scared. Let's do it again the next day. Let's go and do a little bit more to make sure that this person gets even more scared. כל אלו השדים נקראים שדים נוכרעים למודי הרע. Those are Gentiles shedim. That's what he calls them. Then you have other shedim. What kind of other shedim there are? He says shedim Yehudain. You have Jewish shedim and non-Jewish shedim, Gentiles shedim. What's the difference over there? Also you have Gentiles and Jewish? No. But you have those that come as a wicked person, as somebody that comes to hurt you. That's called shedim nuchrain, non-Jewish shedim. But then you have the Jewish shedim. What does Jewish shedim do? They come to you, he says, as a rabbi, as a big Talmid Chacham, as one of the Avot HaKdoshim, Nevi'im Rishonim, Tanaim. He comes to you as Avot HaKdoshim. Ba'alei Sakan Gadol, they come with a big beard. Atara B'Rashem, Tzadikim v'Chasidim, ולפעמים אומרים שם אברהם, יצחק ויעקב. Sometimes you get ממש a dream, you wake up in the morning, you tell all your friends, you know who I saw tonight? Avraham Avinu came to me in a dream, and he spoke to me, he taught me Torah, he told me beautiful chidushim. You wake up in the morning, and you feel like $1 million. He tells you that's also nonsense. Or Eliyahu Hanavi, some people constantly see Eliyahu Hanavi in the dream, and they believe it. Tzarich Adam lishol et pihem. Now he teaches you how to, if you really believe you had a dream with Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, you had a dream with Eliyahu Hanavi, you had Moshe Rabbeinu coming to you, you had Rav Shimon Bar Yochai coming to you, you believe it? So he tells you over here how to find out if it's really true. He says over here, that you have to precisely ask them, are you Avraham Avinu? If they answer, I'm Avraham, you know that they're playing games. Avraham Avinu, I ask, are you Avraham Avinu? He tells a story over here. There was a story that happened in Shnat Tafrein Resh Ein Aleph with a kid that was 11 years old that said that he spoke to Eliyahu Hanavi in the dream. Sounds familiar. Today kids speak to all kind of people that are dead. They come with messages and they speak to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Today kids have a lot of nevuot. So over here says that this kid, 11 years old, spoke to Eliyahu Hanavi in the dream every night. He told him, every night when I go to sleep, Eliyahu Hanavi reveals to me. He says, he told him, I don't believe it's Eliyahu Hanavi. Rabbi Yehuda Fatai said, go and ask him, are you Eliyahu Hanavi? So he did ask him. He asked him in the next night, are you Eliyahu Hanavi? He told him, of course I'm Eliyahu. Why your rabbi is doubting me? So he told this to the rabbi. He told him, you see, he's not Eliyahu Hanavi. Why didn't he say, of course I'm Eliyahu Hanavi? He said, of course I'm Eliyahu. His name is Eliyahu. He's not Eliyahu Hanavi. But the kid didn't believe it. He still thought that this is Eliyahu Hanavi. So Yehuda Fataya, when he did all kind of tricks to prove that it's not Eliyahu Hanavi. One of the things was, he told him in the end, after all the tricks that he tried to make, he told him in the end that he should tell him to translate a certain pasuk in Yirmiyah, and that pasuk is actually something that the Shadim can't translate because it's a bad thing to them. They don't want to say something that's a curse to them. And they're not going to translate. If they would translate it, then you know that it's not a shed. It's a malach, it's Eliyahu Hanavi. But if you don't know, if they will translate it, you can believe it. If they don't translate it, you can't believe them. So over here, the shed wasn't willing to translate to this pasuk at all. And again he asked him to translate. He wasn't willing to translate it, and that's how he was revealed to be a shed and not Eliyahu Hanavi. And therefore, as Yehuda Fataya says, you have to be very careful how you treat your dreams. Are you going to actually be scared? You're going to be worried. You're going to take action. You're going to do kaparot. You're going to do pidyon nefesh. You're going to call the rabbis, make hatavat chalom, all kind of things. Make a ta'anit, start fasting the next day. If you do that, although the halakha says sometimes you should do that, but in order to know when yes and when no, go to a serious, real rabbi that's a Talmid Chacham, not those that have the shows that would tell you exactly what dream yes and what dream no, and what does it mean the dream, and all kind of interpretations and solutions and so on and so forth. None of this has any meaning. So it comes out that dreams actually are nothing to worry about in reality, and only something that's very, very uncommon that would be something that one should actually take seriously. But with that, we can now ask a lot of questions. What are the questions? Chazal tell us that kol hachalomot holchim achar hapeh. When a person sees a dream, he should make sure to tell that chalom to a good friend of his. This all gemarot in brachot nun he amud bet nun vav. All these dreams that you're getting, make sure you go to somebody that's going to interpret that dream positively, in a good way. Why is that? Because whatever the interpretation is, that's what the dream really is going to come about. That's what's going to be the solution of the dream. It's not what you dreamt, it's rather what the other person explained it. And the question with that is what all the mefarshim on that Gemara, take a look at the En Yaakov, all the mefarshim ask over there, the Marsha, Bala, Kedah. Actually, the Zohar speaks about this, the Rashba speaks about this. Why is it so if HaKadosh Baruch Hu actually has a gezerah to show a person? He wants to reveal to him something, and he says it in a dream, he brings it in a dream. How does the interpretation of my friend is going to change that? That's a very hard question that needs to be explained. And the answer the Rashba says, that's the Rashba. The Rashba says that you need to know that there are things like that. I'm reading the Rashba. He says the following. יש דברים נעלמים, לא נתבהרה לנו עתה סיבותם. Some things are covered from us. They're not revealed to us. We don't know the interpretation to that. We don't know the explanation to that. הישאמרו ברית כרותה לשפתיים. One of the things is the mouth. The mouth, the lips, have a certain covenant, a brit, that whatever we say has an effect in the world. ואמרו כאבשגגה היוצאת מפי השליט. Sometimes a person says something negative, that things happens. You say something bad, that things could come about. ונח נפשה. And the person could die because of that. וכאלה רבים. וכן קללות וברכות. Same thing when a person curses, when a person says brachot. It has a certain power. The mouth has a certain power. That's why Chazal say, Al tiyeh birkat hediot kala b'einecha. Even a simple person that gives you a bracha shouldn't be something simple in your eyes. Rather, it could be a serious thing. Al iftach adam piv l'satan, Chazal say. One should not open his mouth for a bad thing, because the Satan takes effect on that. He would take and bring this thing to the person. Gam beteva, also in nature. Sometimes you have something that we call a magnet, even shoevet. You see that things that you can't really explain, says the Rashba, and those things could happen in the world. So over here also, that's one of the things that really we don't have an explanation. That what? A person would give a certain solution to the dream, and that will come true. How could that be? But others give a different explanation to this Gemara and to this Chazal. For instance, Da Barbanel in Parashat Miketz says that in reality the dream is whatever it is, but a person could give an interpretation to the dream. Not that he changed anything. The dream comes as an open book that you can interpret however you understand it. And whenever you interpret, that's what happens. That needs, again, explanation. Why is that so? How could that happen? Actually, the Zohar says that a dream has two sides to it. And you can pick whichever side it is. The following are the words of the Zohar. Kivan shekol chalom it b'mehai gisa ve'it b'mehai gisa. Which means each chalom has from this side and from that side. A good thing, a bad thing. Al ken kol chalmin de'al ma'azlin batar pisho de puma. Therefore, all the dreams actually would be revealed according to the person that interpret that dream. That's what it says in the pasuk. Kasher patar lanu ken haya. That's what happens. Actually, the Gemara tells us that openly. The Gemara in Brachot Nun Hey again says the following: Amar Rabbi Zna bar Zivda, Amar Rabbi Akiva, Mishum zaken echad uminu Rabbi Bana, 24 potei chalomot hayu b'Yerushalayim. There were 24 people that would explain dreams. They would give solution to the dreams in Yerushalayim in their time. Pam achat alachti chalamti chalom. One time he had a dream. V'alachti etzel kulam. He went to all 24. And each one gave him a different explanation to what the dream is, a different solution, a different interpretation of what the dream. Ma shepatar li ze, lo patar li ze. Each one was different pitaron. V'kulam nitkaimu bi. All of them came to him. Lekayem shene'emar kol hachalomot holchim achar hapeh. You see that what? It's not only one person says, it could be 24 people, each one would say something else, and all would come. Says the Gemara, how do we know that kol hachalomot holchim achar hapeh? Shene'emar v'hi kasher patar lanu ken haya. Just like he revealed to us, that's what actually happened. The Gemara says about a person that was called Bar Hadaya. Bar Hadaya, that was his name. Mafshar chalmin have. He was one of the people that interpret dreams. Man de'av le'igra, mafshar le'me'aliyuta. Whoever paid him, he gave him a positive interpretation for the dream. It was a good dream. Man de'lo ya'iv le'agra. Whoever didn't pay him, mafshar le'legriuta. He gave him a bad and negative solution to the dream. So now the Gemara says that Abaye ve'Rava saw exactly the same dreams. Chazu chalma. Many dreams that they saw were exactly the same as the Gemara over here in length tells us. Abaye ya'iv le'agra, Rava lo ya'iv le'agra. Abaye paid him. Every time he went to Bar Hadaya, here, I'm paying you for the dream solution. What's the dream? Rava didn't pay. He didn't know that he had to pay. He didn't think about it. He went to him. Here, can you give me a solution for the dream? He didn't pay him. So they both said psukim that they saw in the dreams. To Abaye, he always interpreted in a positive way, and to Rava in a negative way. The Gemara explains over here that in the end, Rava understood that the whole thing was just a game, and he saw that one of the books of this person, Bar Hadaya, had this words, Kol HaChalomot Olchim Achar HaPeh, that whatever you tell the person, that's what happened to him. He understood that the reason was because he didn't pay him. That's why he interpreted everything bad, and everything came to him. All the bad things came to him, and to Abai, everything good came to him. Amar Rasha, Rava told him, you're a wicked person. Bedidach kaima v'tzartan kulehai. You could have changed. It's all in your hands. You can interpret good or bad. And Rava didn't know this until then. And you always interpreted negatively. Kulu machil lalach bar mi barte de Rav Chisda. I'm not mochel for what you did to my wife, the daughters of Rav Chisda. And he cursed him over here. So we see over here such an idea. How does it work exactly? So Rashba says we don't know. The Zohar says because it's open for interpretation, because there's bad things in it and a good thing in it. Just like with the Barbanel said. Barbanel said a person interprets the dreams, that's what comes. But we need to understand, how could that be? What is the dream? The dream comes to tell us either this way or that way. So it's how could a person with his mouth change reality? The answer is, says the Miftav Me'Eliyahu, it's like a Gzar Din in Shamayim. A person accepts on himself whatever it is. A person says that, tell me what the dream means. It's like sitting in a Beit Din and the Dayan is there and he's going to decide what's going to happen. And that's the same thing over here. You go to your friend, make sure you go to a good friend, because he's going to give the interpretation to this. In Shamayim they decide, since the dream had two meanings, we had over here a sanegor, somebody that was saying good things about it, makes sense, let's go with that. Somebody that said bad things, makes sense in Shamayim, we'll go with that. Since in Shamayim it's still open, because that dream has two meanings, and therefore the person that will give the explanation, that's what would be the real explanation over here. According to the Iyun Yaakov, he says a little bit different, a little different twist. He says that when a person says to you what you dreamt, so if it was exactly what the meaning of the dream, it would come into your ear, you would understand it, it would feel that you have the dream correctly now. You told the person the dream, he gave you an explanation. If you feel, you know what, I don't understand, that's not it. So you know that wasn't the message. But if whatever he says fits well, therefore, such a dream, you know, that was the real message. That's what Chazal tell us, that whenever they said, those people that gave the interpretations to Paro, his Chartumim, told him what the dream that he had mean, Lo nichnesu, he didn't enter, Lo nichnesu bo, belibo, he wasn't able to come and feel that this is what the dream meant. Until Yosef told him what he told him, then he felt that this is what the dream really means. What's the explanation to this? The explanation is that together with the message, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives the person also to feeling that if that was the real thing, you would feel comfortable with it. And therefore, such a thing would be the message that would be correct. But that only if the message is through a malach. Everything we're talking about right now, if it's an honest message, it's a good message, that's a message through a malach that came to us through a messenger that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave over. But since we explained in the beginning that today it's very, very hard to have such dreams, and therefore today most of the dreams are just from the Shadim, and the lowest Shadim of all that come only to play with us, to make sure that we get agitated, we get angry, and therefore if we play their games, we go along with their games, they take advantage of that and they'll do it over and over again. Comes a solution to all what we spoke, that one should do, like the Chazon Ish said, and like the Poskim explain, that one should not worry after a dream. And if he still worries, do a Tavat Cholom, something minimal, not to show the Shadim that we really care about what the dreams are. And more of that is, the Poskim say that today the dreams don't even mean anything, not even a Shadim. Why? Because when was a message from either a Malach or a Shed? That was in previous times when a person was home and he had to go to work. He went outside to take care of his cows, of his chickens. He went to the Bet Midrash. A wife would stay home all day. So if they see something that's out of the norm, so then that would be a message from somewhere. But today we reveal to so many things. We have so many pictures we see all the time from the media, from newspapers, from all kind of different sources, and therefore all these images come into our mind, and we are involved in so many things. So therefore, at night when we go to sleep, since the body relaxes, the mind relaxes, then all the imaginations go up, and one starts dreaming about all these things. That's how the Derech Hashem explains, the Ramchal explains on the third parak, right away in the beginning of the third parak, he explains that one doesn't need to worry about these things, because normally they come from where I explained right now. But if it does come from a shed, definitely one should not play along with him.